If only we had noticed these the first time. Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 details in the Descendants movies you missed.
If only, yeah.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're counting down all the best Easter eggs left for fans in these Disney Channel movies. Number 10. Maleficent appears in Descendants 2. Descendants 2. Near the end of the first Descendants movie, Mal's mother Maleficent is turned into a lizard by a spell, making her the same size as the amount of love she has in her heart.
That's why it's so itty-bitty. Is she gonna be like that forever?
In Descendants 2, released 2 years after the first film, Maleficent makes an appearance again in her lizard form, because Mal is actually keeping her as a pet in a terrarium. Eagle-eyed fans did notice a small discrepancy though. The lizard in the first movie is purple while the one we see in the sequel is green. That raises the question, is she able to change colors? Or was this a simple filmmaker oversight? Number 9. Genie Jafar makes an appearance. Descendants.
Yes, there he is.
As you can imagine, in a series set within the Disney universe, there are tons of nods to the OG animated films. One of them comes in the original Descendants movie. During the song Rotten to the Core, we see a shot of Jay, Jafar's son, as he quickly descends a ladder.
A dirty no good, down to the bone. Your worst nightmare can't take me home.
In a blink and you'll miss it moment, he lands right beside a poster featuring his villainous dad in the form of a genie.
The universe is mine to command, to control!
You probably remember the part in 1992's Aladdin where Jafar becomes an evil genie. And this is a brief but fun reminder of where Jay comes from.
My lamp.
Dad, I already tried.
Number 8. The crew dealt with some serious weather. Descendants 2.
Let me tell you something you can really trust. Everybody's got a wicked side.
One of the most memorable songs from Descendants 2 has to be Chillin' Like a Villain. Because the final version looks pretty much flawless, you probably didn't know that the cast and crew actually had a huge challenge while filming it. They had to shoot during a typhoon. Because it was the last day they had in that location, the show had to go on. The movie's director Kenny Ortega said, quote, "While they were singing and dancing that song, the sets were blowing away and the rain was coming down in buckets. It was insane." In the end though, nothing could rain on this parade.
Like a villain.
Number 7. Stained Glass Love Stories. Descendants 2.
And now for the unveiling of King Ben's masterpiece, designed especially for his lady.
During the cotillion scene in Descendants 2, which takes place on a ship in Oridon, you were probably focused on the unfolding drama involving Mal, Ben, and Uma.
I wish I had time to explain.
But if you looked closely at the background, you may have noticed something familiar in the stained glass windows. Some of Disney's most beloved couples are on display there, which ends up being a bit of a teaser for what's to come. Eventually, the stained glass piece that Ben had made is revealed, and Mal and Ben join the ranks among some of the best love stories ever told. Number 6. Villainous Restaurants. Descendants 2.
But unlike you gods lounging about up here, I regrettably have a full-time gig that you, by the way, so charitably bestowed on me, Zeus.
Providing Easter eggs for hardcore Disney fans is pretty much what the Descendants series is all about. And one way the creators decided to incorporate them in the second movie was with signs for restaurants run by some of the most infamous characters in the Disneyverse.
Perfect.
2 examples come from Mulan and Hercules, respectively.
Good.
If you're looking for some dastardly dim sum, you can head to Shan Yu's. And if you're more in the mood for Greek food, you can check out Hades Souvlaki, which bears the slogan, "It's under this world." Number 5. Maleficent's Magnets. Descendants. When you think of evil villains, you probably don't necessarily associate them with fridge magnets.
It's all about world domination. Knuckleheads! Prince.
But in the Descendants franchise, there are some fun extras on the Wicked Air fridge that fans have noticed. In the first movie, we were able to see multicolored letters spelling out the words fools and revenge.
I will finally have my revenge on Sleeping Beauty and her relentless little prince.
From another angle, a couple more magnets reveal themselves, including a likeness of Maleficent's Raven Diablo. In that same shot, you might see a magnet of Maleficent turning into her dragon self. The last one we noticed was a spinning wheel magnet, and anyone who's familiar with Sleeping Beauty will know how important that is to Princess Aurora and Maleficent's story.
You poor simple fools, thinking you could defeat me, the mistress of all evil.
Number 4. Blue or Pink? Descendants. Speaking of Sleeping Beauty, do you remember the scene where Flora and Merryweather are disagreeing about what color Aurora's dress should be?
Make it blue. Merryweather, make it pink.
One thinks it should be blue, and the other believes it should be pink. And what results is a magical riot of color as they decide. Their fight helps to kick off the action of the story, because it ends up unintentionally alerting Maleficent. This scene is subtly referenced in Descendants when we see a wall that's painted half blue and half pink. A perfect compromise. Number 3. Magic Carpet Cameo. Descendants.
Yo, Rockman, haven't seen you in a few millennia. Give me some tassel. Ha! Yo.
We already talked about the Genie Jafar poster in the background of the song Rotten to the Core, but that's not the only Aladdin reference to crop up during that scene. In another moment during Jay's part, we see him jumping through the marketplace and scaling displays.
What, me a traitor? Ain't got your back? Are we not friends? What's up with that?
If you look very closely, you can actually spot a rug that looks an awful lot like Aladdin's magic carpet in the scene. The shot happens so quickly that it can be a tough one to catch, but once you see it, you'll realize this was definitely intentional. Number 2. Lumière's cameo. Descendants 2.
Over here.
Where?
Hello.
Of course, a lot of characters from our favorite Disney movies show up in one way or another in the Descendants films, but some of the appearances are subtler than others. In Descendants 2, one of the most well-loved figures from Beauty and the Beast has a cameo, but it's very possible you wouldn't recognize him.
Be our guest. Be our guest. Put our service to the test.
Yes, Lumière, who we're more familiar with in Candelabra form, is seen in his human form during the cotillion scene, where he acts as the herald and delivers a memorable line to Mal.
We work it together.
Number 1. Uma and Mal share a line. Descendants and Descendants 2. When the original Descendants movie was released in 2015, fans were excited by the ending in which Mal made it clear that they could expect some kind of sequel. As her eyes glowed green, she said, seemingly straight to the audience, that the story wasn't over yet.
Oh, I was having so much fun, I almost forgot. You didn't think this was the end of the story, did you?
In the sequel, Uma finishes things off in a special post-credits scene by saying the very same line that Mal does.
What? You didn't think this was the end of the story, did you?
Our fingers are crossed that Descendants 3 will finish in the same way, because honestly, we never want this story to end. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.